Hello and welcome again to my YouTube channel on High Level Coder, and in this video I'm going to discuss how we can send HTTP request from a Java or JavaScript program to a REST service running somewhere. Now if you are not very comfortable with REST service and HTTP requests, please go ahead and read my blogs or watch my YouTube video which I have marked over there, and then you can come back and do the setup to actually send HTTP requests from Java and JavaScript. Because in today's world, there are a lot of REST services, and more often than not, our work as software developers are normally to either implement a web service or to be able to consume a web service, a REST service from a Java or JavaScript client. So in this video, we are going to see how we can actually consume such a REST service, such a REST endpoint from Java and JavaScript, because it's very, very important in today's world to be able to consume REST services. So, but before we actually start consuming the REST service, we need to actually set up some REST service. To make this setup easier, what I've done is I have used a mocking tool which is known as Mockun. You can download it from there and you can install it. Do not worry, I will show a quick demo of how to do that. And also what I would suggest is the link to my blog post on the same topic is over there at the bottom. So please feel free to navigate to my blog post and you can read the blog and then come back and watch the demo. Maybe that would be mutually complimentary. So that is why I also created the blog post. So we will first create the mock API using Mockun, and then we will try to invoke this API from JavaScript and Java program. First from a JavaScript program because it's relatively easier to actually invoke from a JavaScript solution. And here is the code on the left hand side. Very simple code you can see, which is invoking the get and the post endpoints. But we also need to install a library which is known as Axios, and we know that we can very easily install a library in Node.js by using the command npm install and then the library name. So in one of the functions over there, we are calling the get endpoint using the get method of Axios, and in the other function we are calling the post endpoint using the post method of Axios. We will see a demo of both of them. And now let's go to the Java solution. So here is the Java code. Similar code to actually invoke the get endpoint, and then we are getting back a JSON, and we are iterating through that JSON. We are getting back, in fact, a JSON array of the users, and then we are iterating through the list of users. Now in Java, there is already a JDK 11 client which I have used. There are also many other HTTP clients in Java, and JDK 11 client is just one of the clients which is shipped with the JDK. So I do not need any external library for that, but I still needed an external library for being able to process the JSON response from the HTTP endpoint. So that is why I had to add another additional library by the name JSON Simple from Google, which was added as a dependency in the pom.xml file. So this is the Java code. So we will first download and install the mocking library in order to mock the endpoint. So please go to this URL and download the tool corresponding to your environment. If it's Windows, you can download the installer and just click the install button to do the installation in Windows. And once it's installed, you can then open the Mockun. The GUI looks like this, and you can click the green button here to start the server, and this actually starts the server, and these are the different endpoints which are made available, and I can actually invoke the endpoints. So let us go back and see in Visual Studio Code how I can invoke the endpoint. So as a proof that the endpoint was already up and running, I can do a curl to that URL and it will return the list of users. So it returns the list of users. It's not a pretty print, but I can see that it is indeed the list of users. Now I will use the JavaScript code to get the same value, to get the same list of users. So I will first invoke the get endpoint, which is this one, the same endpoint, and then it will print the users line by line. Now, even before I run the program, I need to install the Axios library by using the command npm install Axios, but I had already done that, so I'm not redoing that. And the proof that I had already done that is, you can see the entry Axios. The moment you install any library in JavaScript, if it gets installed successfully, it will be added as a dependency in package.json. That's how Node.js works. So coming back, now we can actually run this JavaScript file by, yes, so it has invoked the endpoint and it has got all the responses. We can also invoke the post endpoint. So there is one endpoint which is at this URL, which we have to invoke using the post HTTP method. So now we will invoke the post endpoint. It will post the data and it got this response. So that is how we can actually invoke get and post endpoints from JavaScript. Now we will go to the Java code and do the same thing. So this is the Java code. This is the Java code for the get, for invoking the get endpoint, the same endpoint. So we are using the HTTP client, which is a Java client, which is the client which is shipped with JDK. We do not need any external library for this. And then I'm creating the HTTP request and then invoking the request to get the response. And then I'm getting the response as a JSON body. And then I'm basically, the response is coming as a JSON array. And then I'm iterating through that array to list each of the response. So let's run the program. First, let me set Maven in path. Then I will do a, this program is already compiled, so I do not need to compile it again. So I will just run the program using the command, this one. So the name of the program is HTTP client example. And I will also delete the starting code here. So it will go ahead and sorry, I gave a wrong command. So this mvn was given twice. That was the problem. Yes, so it was able to invoke and it got the response back. This is the list of all users. Thank you for your patient listening. A couple of advices from my side. Number one is, please go ahead and try out the examples. Start with JavaScript example and then go to the Java example and go to my blog post to copy the code and first try the basic version of the code and then you can tweak around and see how it works. Second is, if you do not still know how or what are the different REST endpoints and what is JSON and others, please refer to my other videos in my channel. And also the other thing which I want to mention here is, in all my videos I'm trying to show you how to do it in JavaScript and Java, and I'm actually writing the code structurally similar in both the language. Now the reason for that is twofold. Number one is knowing or being able to write both Java and JavaScript programs will increase your employability, will increase your hireability. And second is, it's not at all difficult to write code in both the languages. Of course, the syntax differ, but the overall structure remains the same. So my suggestion is, please get used to writing code in multiple languages. The more we become polyglot, we learn more about the languages, we learn more about software engineering, and we also become more employable. So if you really like my video, then go ahead and subscribe to my channel and also like my video, because that would motivate me.